Well, hello, and welcome to episode 249 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here, as always, with Michaela. And Michaela, we have made it through to the end of another year. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to all the listeners out there. How have you been? How was 2025 in the world of Michaela? Just summarize the whole year, and then we'll head on out.
The year was whoa. It was a lot. If if December
The year
me went
was
to
woe.
January me, it was whoa. The whole planet's on fire. Midlife crisis is in like full swing. I said that in January, and I had no idea what was up with that. If December me could go and talk to January me and be like, "Hey, girl, this is the stuff that's going to go down. These are the movies you're going to watch. These are the drinks you're going to have. These are the experiences. This is how 2025 is going to unfold." I would be lying if I would never believe it. I would be lying if I wasn't completely and utterly shocked, which is weird because I guess in the grand scheme of things, not a lot happened, but a lot's happened this year. And a lot's happened in Drink the Movies. We had some amazing Drink the Video Games episodes, right? We
Hmm.
had some really fun explorations of different kind of cocktails. We saw a lot of different movies. We had a different platform that's we're gonna really bring to 2026. It's gonna be amazing. Like there's been a lot. There's just been a lot. I don't know if I could summarize it in one word or just a group of sentences.
The year 2025 was pretty good. It was interesting in a lot of ways. Personally and around the world, 2025 was a year for the ages, I guess we can say. But yeah, here at Drink the Movies, we did a lot of good stuff. We expanded our audience, which was nice. We've hit upon a couple of new things we're going to try in the coming year. That was good. We did our annual Oscar pick'em, which was bigger than ever. Again, it keeps growing every year, and hopefully continues to do so in the new year. And we, tried out a lot of cocktails. I think that we kind of settled into our cocktail knowledge a little bit this year. I think we, kind of got into some techniques and things, and we felt more comfortable. I was just kind of scrolling back through, some of the cocktails we did, and trying to pick out a couple that stood out. And there were a couple in there that were, clarified, and we just, made those easy peasy, like we've been doing it our whole lives, right? It was something, that would have thrown us fits a couple years back when we first started the podcast, or things like when we did the Fantastic Four and just rattled off four cocktails for that, got those into the episode. So I think that we did really really good. I think that our cocktail knowledge has come a long way, and we got to do some more fun stuff. Right, we just got finished, just very recently doing our annual Advent calendar tastings. I did my whiskey, you did your wine this year, so that was good. That was probably a good exercise, especially it's tough, this time of year because we're all busy, but to sit down and make that content. But how was that? Did you learn anything about your own kind of palate for wine, or did you learn anything about like tasting wine, or like how you explain wine to people over the course of the month?
Yeah, so I always thought that I would, when I retired in my old age, that I would go work in a winery somewhere pretty and sell wine to people
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
always thought that I was pretty good at explaining how wine tasted. But I have to say, I think you do have to be careful because you'll use the same words over and over again, and it makes sense, but also you got to get more creative with how you're explaining how something tastes. Like a Chardonnay from California is usually considered oaky and buttery. But if you don't know what that means,
Hmm.
I mean, you know what butter tastes like, but like what does that actually mean? Is it really like a flavor? Is it a feeling in your mouth? Is it both? Like, and really exploring all the different wines and the fact that these were, let's just say, like mid to low priced wines, like they were accessible to people. So you're not going to get like a flavor variant that you're not going to get like hints of mint necessarily and kind of like really esoteric stuff. So trying to explain that in a way that in like under a minute is difficult. And I got it. I mean, I feel like I got pretty good at it, but I also kind of reused a lot of the words that I would use even in the first week, right? Where I would be like, oh, this is very like citrusy. But what exactly does that mean? Is it lemon and lime? Because those aren't the same thing. Is it grapefruit? Because that's a citrus,
Hmm.
but that's not the same thing. And like trying to get more specific um, without sounding like a total like I don't know, like like a savant who's too good for his for her own taste buds kind of thing, because you get that thing in
I've always likened
Sideways.
you as a savant, to be
Have
honest.
you- Thanks. Especially when it comes to alcohol. That girl knows what she's doing. No, I feel like sometimes when I'm talking about tastes of alcohol to someone who maybe doesn't know, it's like that scene in Sideways where he's like grapefruit and just the hint of like Edam cheese, and the guy's like, yeah, yeah, strawberry, got it, yep, like, and it's just you sound kind of like a pompous jerk, and I don't want to sound that way because the advent calendars especially are supposed to be for every man, right? Like every
Right.
person, every
Yeah.
human should be able to go and enjoy some of these. And so it was kind of also nice to be able to say without a doubt that I didn't love something. And that's hard. We struggle, I think. Well, I struggle with that in Drink the Movies. We'll see a movie and we won't love it, or we'll drink a drink and we won't love it. And we'll talk about what we could like what could be improved, but it's hard for me to even be honest and be like, oh, I hated this. Like that's
Hmm.
difficult. And I think we've really kept reached a balance here of being able to explain, like, articulate why we don't like something and why we didn't love like a
Hmm.
movie or something without like throwing complete shade at it, because it's somebody's favorite movie or somebody's favorite actor or something, and we could be like, we didn't love it, but it's okay if you did, right? And because that can
Right.
get deeply personal, and nothing is more personal than what you put in your mouth, like drinking.
Well,
So
that's true.
for me to be
That's true.
like,
That is a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, and I mean it's good to be able to talk about beverages in this way, being drink the movies, and I think that stuff like that will help just in general in the podcast being able to describe stuff a little bit better. But yeah, I find it to be more useful more often whether you're talking about wine or whether you're talking about a movie or whether you're talking about a person. It's more helpful to be able to find the things that you did enjoy or to be able to verbalize why you didn't enjoy something more than just being like that movie sucked on to the next, right? So yeah, so I think that's good. I think that's good. Let's talk a little bit about cocktails here. Michaela, did you get anything good over the Christmas break here? It was just Christmas here last week, right? Because we're releasing this on New Year's Day, but I got a Christmas gift here I wanted to make mention of because that is what I am drinking today. It comes from the High Bank Distillery. It is called the Midnight Manhattan. It is just a bottled, I believe, barrel aged Manhattan from High Bank Distillery, which is in Grandview Heights, Ohio. It's near Columbus there. But this is really, really tasty stuff. I love a good bottled Manhattan because it's super simple to do that. And that might be something that I want to look into doing a little bit more this year. I've done a couple of bottled things before. I've done, batched Negronis. I've done batched margaritas. So maybe playing around with a couple of those different things that I could batch up, keep in the fridge handy, I think is something I want to get into. But yeah, Midnight Manhattan by High Bank Distillery Company. Michaela, did you get anything fun for Christmas to pour in your glass and to toast the audience today?
fun to pour in my glass. I did pick up a bottle of Penelope's Black Walnut Old Fashioned. So
Ooh, okay.
Penelope's doing these small batch, I don't know if they're actually small batch, but they're bottled like batches of old fashions. They had like a peach old fashioned that I think came out this last summer, that was delicious. And then this Black Walnut Old Fashioned
The peach old
seems really
fashioned
new.
only comes in a single serving bottle, I believe. Is that correct? Oh no, that is
No.
that is not correct. That is not
It's
correct.
so good that you want to drink the whole thing. No,
Mm,
it's like a 750 mil.
can
You got
neither
to be careful
confirm nor
with that.
deny. Be
If
careful.
you're gonna, yeah, everybody drink responsibly. That's all I'm gonna say. But the black walnut, it felt like a grown up, like a very grown up version of like one of those canned gin and tonics, and we used to make fun of those. We were like, oh, it was something you would drink on a train in England because that's what you could
Mm,
do, but it wasn't good. Like, and then in the past couple years, different companies have really kind of brought up their game. I have to say, the Penelope Black Walnut Old Fashioned, if you don't want to make one and you're having a party where everyone's going to drink old fashions, it's very good, and it tastes very elevated. It is definitely not the same as if you were making one yourself, but
mhm.
that being said, it's a very, very close second, and I enjoyed a few of them. I will not lie and say. And I
And
enjoyed our aged eggnog.
okay, yeah.
Was extra creamy this year. I
It
did a
was,
taste
yeah.
test between 24 and 25s.
Yeah, absolutely. Dipped into a little bit of eggnog on Christmas Day, and did all my traditional kind of Christmas things. But yeah, the Penelope one's nice, and it seemed like there was a big explosion of those kinds of things over the past like year or so of like canned cocktails and stuff like that. Like I'm finding myself looking to those more and more, like when I go into the liquor store to see what's available, if there's anything good to have or to try out. So there have definitely been a couple of ones. Let's talk a little bit about kind of the cocktails that we had over the course of the year on the podcast. I don't know if there was anything in particular that stood out to you. We started the year with an orange mocha frappuccino, and we covered Zoolander, of course. That one was pretty good, but it seemed like we did a few tiki variants over the course of the year, right? We did the rum punch for Mary Poppins. We did the Ghost of Jim Morrison for the Doors
Mm.
when we covered that. That was kind of a more like sour like tiki drink from like an actual like tiki restaurant there in California. That was good. We did some other things. We did the Gin Zombie for 28 Years Later, the Velociraptor for Jurassic Park. So it seemed like we were leaning a lot into the tiki drinks, and hey, I am okay with that because love a good tiki drink. So that was kind of the area of exploration I think we did on the podcast. But were there any drinks that really stood out to you over the course of the year, Michaela, or flavors or new ingredients that you're excited to learn about going into the new year?
Ooh, new flavors. I think I just recently, I really think I have found a more a better appreciation for Midori. Because I used to hate Midori. I thought it was gross. Um, but it turns out I just needed to know how to mix it with things. Um, let's see here. I'm looking through. I think, we really with the tiki drinks, I think the ambiance around tiki drinks was something that was a little bit lost on me. I didn't quite understand how like what was truly a defining characteristic of a tiki drink other than
Mhm.
like orgeat. And I hope I'm saying that right. I feel like I never say it right. And like
Sounded good to
but there
me.
were thanks. But I feel like there were a couple of ones where it was more the ambiance than the actual drink that was it. I loved the drink we did for Dazed and Confused because I really never rolled a joint before, and so that was kind of fun.
Hmm.
Um, uh,
If anyone saw
not
the picture of that faux joint that Michaela rolled, no one would ever believe you that you never rolled one.
Really? Oh, well, I have n that was the one and only. I think I made two and it was filled with like rosemary or thyme or something. It was not filled with it was not filled with actual weed because yeah. But I really loved some of the expressiveness that we did along with the cocktails themselves, and in some cases that kind of is what made it for me. Um I don't know. Um I loved the purple mink sister act cocktail. I
Oh, the
thought that
purple
was
mink
really
Dolores.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's purple mink Dolores. I have to say, and again, this is not really cocktail related, but I learned a lot about um putting out our content more than ever before. And so thinking about a cocktail in the way of I want it to be, representative of the movie. I want it to taste good. I want it to look cool, but I also need it to be like content makeable. I need it to be something that
Hmm.
we can visually show kind of the amazingness of what it is. And that was difficult in some of these, where it was like, this is it. This is hard to show how good it is. For example, Tron Ares, we really wanted glow in the dark drinks, and it was incredibly difficult to like show how cool they looked in a regular like picture format.
Hmm.
I actually really liked the Tron drinks. The movie is okay, but I thought that like it like really being inspired by like how to create glow in the dark drinks and like bring that to the like make that something that also tasted good
Hmm.
and then that we could show off in a really cool way with like black lighting and stuff. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was fun. It was kind of an interesting experiment to make something that was simple because I think the Tron cocktail that we did was basically just like a Red Bull and vodka, but you're able to get it to be, that like bright red color, which was pretty fun. We did a bunch of simple cocktails this year. I think like almost in back-to-back weeks we did like a Jack and Coke and like a
Hmm.
rum and Coke for a couple of things for Black Klansman and the Jack and Coke I believe we did for this is Spinal Tap. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, we played around with a bunch of different flavors. I mentioned kind of at the top we did the four cocktails for the Fantastic Four. That was fun. It's always fun when we get to do like a bunch of themed stuff. Like we did for, Breakfast Club way back in the day, but I think we're a lot more kind of efficient at doing it this time around. And yeah, I think that our flavors by and large were pretty good because I was looking back at them and I was like, none of these stand out like in my memory as being things that were terrible. Like a couple of them weren't like my favorite thing, but there were still kind of redeeming things about them until we hit to our last week of the year, which was the snow globe for the Santa Claus. There, that was definitely the low point of the year. But that's okay. We saved the worst for last, at least in terms of the cocktail. The Santa Claus, that could be your favorite Christmas movie out there. I'm not sure about that, but the snow globe wasn't the favorite. But there were a lot of really good ones this year. We got to play with some barrel aged gin, which was nice. We got to
Mm.
do some more infusions, which was nice. We got to, play around with some more kind of specialty kind of like syrups. So remember we did that like pepper syrup for the Hellraiser cocktail. So stuff like that was a lot of fun over the course of the year. And one of the fun cocktails that we had actually was a pretty old cocktail. If I remember, it was the Nosferatu because we celebrated our 200th episode this year, and we did both the new Nosferatu, which was out at the time, and the original, the 1922 version of Nosferatu. They're doing that cocktail, the Nosferatu. So a lot of kind of like martini variants there, and that was a delicious one too. Michaela, 200 episodes, that's pretty good. Did you think we would make it to 200? As we're getting ready to don 250 next week. Were 200 episodes in your sights when we set out to do this thing?
No, no. And funny story, we got to the second episode and I was
Michaela
sure
said, I'm
that
going to be tired of Brian by the third episode. No
no,
question.
no, no. I thought
Uh,
it was the opposite. We got through the second episode, and this is a fun fact here at Drink the Movies. Episode two is Elf, okay, where we make the world's greatest cup of coffee.
mhm.
Um, if you'll remember, Brian, and I know you do, we recorded it and
I
we were
sure do.
playing around with how to record it. And we go to like hit end, and it like something happened. It looked like it was downloading it and then it just completely disappeared. And we
Hmm.
had recorded this thing, and this was at the beginning of the dawn of time at Drink the Movie. So we took as long to talk about the movie as the movie itself. We've gotten a lot better at hitting highlights instead of going like scene by scene. I think that that has been in everyone's best interest. However, we had been working on this thing for like nigh on an hour and a half, and we stopped and then it just disappeared, so we had to redo the entire episode, which almost forced us to like take ourselves less seriously and be like, all right, what happened? Let's just get to it. um
It
and
caused us to
it's
take some things less seriously for sure.
yeah.
100%.
And after that, I was like, Brian's gonna do the next episode and be like, yeah, this is fun, but I got better things to do with my time.
That was
I
a great
was
experiment. That was a great experiment. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. Like thinking back like that long was 200 in my mind. I don't know, but we just kept kind of plodding along, right? 52 a year, I guess, right? And then we introduced the lobby bar and kind of that first year, so kind of doubled up the production there and did the musical episodes there over the strike. But yeah, 200, and we're getting ready to hit on episode 250, and we're going to talk about that here after we kind of finish wrapping up our year a little bit. Let's go over some more of the highlights here, just movie wise for us. Of course, we make a big deal about the Oscars here. I don't even want to talk about the Oscars for next year because last year I felt like pretty good. Like at this point, like January 1st last year, I'm like feeling pretty good about like my Oscar watch so far. I don't think I've watched anything that's going to be in the Oscars. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be in the Oscars. I have no idea. Actually, I have a pretty good idea. I know a couple of things, but I'm feeling way behind. Like I've not even like begun to process how far behind I am on it yet. So I've not even started to freak out. So that's nice. That'll happen here very shortly, very shortly. But last year we had a big winner in the Oscars, and It wasn't me. It was me actually, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Honora. Honora wins all of the Oscars last year. It won five, I think, right? Five Oscars, is that right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, best motion picture of the year. And then we got to follow that up with a beautiful cocktail that we recreated from Fanny's. Do you remember that one at all,
Oh,
Michaela?
I sure
I was out
do.
of town. You had to do all the work on your own for this one, and you did a hell of a good job because this one had like some beet infused vodka in it, had red wine in it, an egg white, which is your favorite cocktail. Michaela's favorite cocktail for 2026 is just going to be an egg white, just straight up neat, egg white
That's
neat.
right. Just it's high on the protein, high on the protein. No, I loved recreating that cocktail. As you know, all of our Best Picture cocktails usually come from Fanny's. I think every single one of them has. Fanny's is the restaurant slash bar that is attached to the Museum of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and it's amazing. And we went there in 2024, and that was really amazing. I think we should go there for Oscars this next year. We'll talk about that later. But this cocktail was amazing. And it was so beautiful and it was so perfect. And that's kind of how I felt about the movie. It's one of those I don't know, it's one of those films that still hits me when I talk about it. I get very like
I was gonna say,
um
if you are just randomly talking to Michaela sometime and you want to see what she looks like when she gets choked up, just say, "Hey, Michaela, remember the last scene of Honora?"
and I will. It's totally gonna happen. Oh, it's so good. It was so good, and it was one of those times where, look, it was anybody's guess. I put it out there. I feel like I won this Oscar thing, and for those of you who don't know, like we always have this inner competition. We do our Oscar pick'ems, and we seal them up right before the Oscars, and then we check them off and figure out who called it more. And you might have won, but I won Best Picture. And so I feel like I won the whole thing
I don't know. I
because
won. I won with more right votes. I was in the Caribbean during the Oscars. I might have won.
I had 7 bottles of White Cliff. I won. Okay. I
That's
picked
right.
Honora. She didn't let me down. It was great. So good.
No, she sure didn't. Yeah, Nora was pretty special, and yeah, I had a huge night come Oscar night, so that was pretty exciting. That was good. We love talking about all the Oscar stuff, and we get to highlight a couple of the Oscar things that we loved over the course of the year, and talk about some movies maybe that we wouldn't normally get to talk to because of Oscar stuff that's going on. We try to cover a couple of things in the lead up because A, that helps us with our time management, but B, also get some other kind of stuff in there, right? So we do things like I think we talked about Wild Robot on the podcast, and a couple of things that are kind of adjacent to Oscars. And this year, maybe we've talked about some stuff that is going to be on the Oscars. Although I feel like a lot of those we talk about a little bit more over on our Patreon site. Patreon, we had an excellent year over there on Patreon. We did a bunch of bonus episodes. We did some new format stuff, which is going to be coming out to the podcast very soon. But yeah, that's where we talk a lot about kind of the Oscar contenders and things that we see maybe that necessarily aren't going to make for maybe the most like wide reaching of episodes for people, so we could talk about those with our patrons over there, and that's always fun. We get a little cocktail put together, and we talk about a lot of things that ended up having sequels. Something like we covered this is Spinal Tap here on the main episode, and then we covered Spinal Tap 2 over on Patreon. We did a lot of that this year because there were a lot of things. So of course, Drink the Movies is no stranger to covering the Marvel cinematic universe, so we covered three of those, which might be the fewest in a year, maybe since the first year of
Mm,
Drink the Movies.
yeah.
So only three of those. We did one DC film, right? We did Superman, which was pretty good, and then we did Attack of the Clones, was our Star Wars film that we did this year as well. But we did a lot of other things that were, kind of also reboots or like new versions of things, or like we did the original of things, right? We did the Phantom of the Opera. That's one that has a lot of different entries in there. But we did the final entry in Mission Impossible. We did the live action How to Train Your Dragon, which is a big huge franchise. We did the 28 Years Later. We did Jurassic World. We did I Know What You Did Last Summer. We did Freakier Friday, which was a sequel to a film that came out 20 years ago. For some reason, I'm still not 100% sure why that is. We did Tron, carrying on the Tron legacy, but right there. So we did a bunch of things like that. Michaela, did you have a favorite entry or like something that surprised you that was either like a reboot or a remake? I think I know which one you're going to say, and it's probably The Running Man. But were there any others that kind of stood out to you, surprised you, that was either really good or disappointing, or something that you
Oh.
are like, man, I'm glad they rebooted that. Now we can keep going, with this kind of thing.
Ooh. So I was pleasantly surprised by Tron because I thought it was going to be absolutely terrible, and it wasn't absolutely terrible. Running Man for sure. I actually was really surprised by how much I liked Running Man and how even though it was it was much more true to the book than the movie, it like
Hmm.
it was a reboot that also felt very like paid homage a lot to the original, which I would, so you're right about that.
Hmm.
What was I was like, let's keep going. I don't know. Jurassic World, that I feel like that one was not surprise not surprising, as amazing as Scarlett Johansson is, and how much I loved her ASMR talk about the dinosaurs. I really feel like
We could keep making Jurassic Park films forever if that was the tie-in content we got
right,
for it.
right. If it's like, okay, we need to have a really talented yet beautiful actress be the center of attention in it, and then she talks about dinosaurs on the side, I think that would be great. I just feel like they're just running out of things to do. Um, I was super surprised by Superman. I think
Hmm.
Superman was my most surprising. First of all, it kind of ties into everything we just talked about. It's from a comic book, right? So it's the DC world. It's a reboot slash remake slash new beginning, and it was absolutely incredible. I saw it again, maybe a couple weeks ago, and I had almost forgotten. I remember liking it, but I remember you said that you thought it was your favorite at the time. You said it's my favorite superhero movie of all time, I think is what
Hmm.
you had said.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna revisit that. And then I was at the end, I was like, yep, got it. Yep, yeah. And what's so great about it is open-ended. So now we can have, as long as we keep the same actors, right, and everybody stays sane, and no, we don't lose any crazy, we don't have any craziness happen. We can really reopen this and have it be something that really saves DC because they've gotten this bad rap of making really crappy movies, and then they finally got it right, and it was so great to see that, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad you had a chance to go back and rewatch it because I kind of remember at the time, and that was far earlier in the year. But you were not 100% sold on Superman after
Mm-mm.
having seen it with the relationship and things between Lois and Clark there. But yeah, I was super high on it. I think Superman is my most rewatched film of the year. I think I've seen it 4 times. I saw it twice in the theater um, with you, and then later on again with Anthony. We went back and saw it again, and then I've watched it a couple times at home. So yeah, definitely, I was very excited for that. I had really high hopes going into it, and they were definitely met there. We also covered on the podcast Predator, the original Predator, this month,
Hmm.
and then we saw Predator Badlands, which is a film that I find myself thinking about periodically. So I really high on that. I'm really excited to kind of see what they decide to do kind of with that franchise. And spoiler warning for Predator Badlands, but how it's going to further kind of evolve into like this Predator and Aliens kind of shared cinematic universe kind of thing. So I'm interested in that too. So that's pretty good. And we've seen a lot of movies this year. We've seen a lot of movies for the podcast. We have not seen a lot of movies for the Oscars yet, which is going to come back to bite us here in a couple weeks. We'll follow along for Drink the Movies if you want to hear us complain about watching Oscar films for the next couple of weeks. We won't complain, but we might complain about our time management skills going into 2026. So let's kind of end with this, and then we'll talk about what we're looking forward to next year, Michaela. We've seen a bunch of movies for the podcast. We've seen a couple of movies that we've not covered on the podcast, or maybe just talked about on Patreon or done like a little thing for. What has been your favorite movie so far? Not necessarily the movie that you think, is going to be the most Oscar worthy, not the one that, made the most money. What has been Michaela's favorite movie of 2025?
Oh, that's hard. Um, I'm continuing to look at all the new movies that just came out. Oh, that's hard. Okay, so I loved Sinners. I
Okay.
loved Sinners. I thought Sinners was great. Um,
I didn't even
and
need to take a second. My favorite of 2025 was Sinners.
Okay. Well, there we go. It was so surprising. And I found myself thinking about this, like in prep for this conversation. Like, what movies did we cover? What movies did we see that we didn't cover? Anything that really, any movies that we wish we had seen in the theaters? Because there was a lot coming out this summer that we had to cover. for the podcast. And so because we did that, we missed other things that were out. And so it was
Mhm.
like, just recapping and thinking back on it. And I found myself thinking about, that final scene in Sinners. And spoiler warning, if you've watched it, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but Brian, you know what we're talking about, where they're sitting at a bar. And um, that scene was so amazing to me. I was surprised by like the twists and turns of that movie. I was surprised by the humanity of that film. I was surprised at like as you know it wasn't, you thought it was going to be one thing and it turned out to be something else, but it also was like rich with history almost because of the time period that it was set in. And you get Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan. I mean, that's not bad because he's truly I mean he's an amazing actor, and he's been acting since he was a kid. He was in Sesame Street. He was
Mhm.
he was in Friday Night Lights for a hot minute. Like, way before Apollo, he was honing his craft. And so I feel
Mhm.
like
Yep.
he's one of those actors that people are like, oh, he's just been around for 10 years. And it's like, nah, he's been around since he was a child. And it shows because this film, he's playing two very different characters, and it's just really, I don't know, I really loved it. It haunted me, and I need to go rewatch it, because that is a film that I still find myself thinking about on a humanity level,
Mhm.
versus like some of these others, which were just way too, not too fantastical, but they just didn't hit that same feeling. And it was visually stunning. It was terrifying. Holy moly, the monsters in that. And again, I don't want to spoil anything for people that haven't seen it, but go see it, please. Go see it because it's all the things.
Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of my big takeaway. I was thinking about the films that we've seen this year, and Sinners is a film, kind of like what you were just saying, Michaela. It's a movie that I think about a lot. Maybe not a lot, but like it seems like at least like once a week I'll be like, man, remember that thing in Sinners, or something will remind me of Sinners, or whatever the case is, and I'll think about kind of the storytelling there of that story that was brought to life by you know Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, there, but really the direction of Ryan Coogler. So I'm excited to go back and revisit it, and I'll probably have to rewatch it here again at some point because it is nominated for a lot of Golden Globes, and that will kind of not necessarily pave the way, but tell us what we can look forward to come Oscar night, right? Best drama, motion picture, uh, male actor performance in a drama, best motion picture, best screenplay, original score, original song, and cinematic and box office achievement. Because Sinners was a movie that we'd both looked forward to, but it didn't really seem out of the norm for things that were coming out, right? You have your big, Marvel blockbuster or whatever the case is, and then you have like these other things. But Sinners like freaking crushed at the box office. Like, it's no surprise to anyone who worked on the film because they knew that what they had created was completely magical. But I think it caught the world by surprise a little bit by how like incredibly well received it was. So I think that's good. The only other one I guess that I'd even probably like give some sort of like credence to here for that is that I can never remember the name of it here. The no One Battle After Another was another film that I
Oh
really
yeah.
really liked, but I don't find myself like revisiting that in my own mind that often.
Hmm.
It is another movie that I would like to go back and rewatch, but just that runtime is just killing me. It's killing me. But there's been some other stuff. Obviously, there have been the big huge like blockbuster things that we saw. Probably like the craziest movie theater experience I've ever had. It was going to see Minecraft. Like that was bananas. I don't even understand. I still don't understand like that, like how that happened. So we talked about that on the podcast. If you want to go check that out, but more recently we've seen Wicked, we've seen Avatar, which we'll be talking about on our next episode, and that is a good segue, Michaela, because our next episode is our 250th episode, which is a pretty big deal. I feel like that seems
Hmm.
like a big deal to me, and hopefully it seems like a big deal to all of you out there because we're going to be trying something new this year. We've been doing it for the last couple of months over on our Patreon page for our patrons over there, but we're going to try to do like a video version of the podcast, like one-ish a month. Of these are going to be video versions. You'll be able to watch the video on YouTube. So you can go to listen to our podcast on YouTube if you want to just listen to the audio version, but we're going to be doing a video recorded version on YouTube and a video version on Spotify, and then just the audio like cut of that will go to your other podcast places. So if you listen to us on Apple or Good Pods or whatever the case is, you'll still get the audio version of that there. But we're going to be trying that, and that's been pretty fun doing that with our patrons over there. So we're gonna have to really make sure that what we're saying makes sense. We're gonna have to speak legibly, right?
He's
And
looking at
it's
me when
just
he's
gonna
saying
be
that for any of you
it's
who
gonna be. I'm saying it to both
listening.
of us. I'm saying it to both of us. Also, yes, to Michaela too. No, but we're excited about that. I think it's going to change the format up a little bit. For those episodes, we'll still be covering a movie. Kind of a little bit, probably shorter, just kind of some kind of quick hits, what we thought about the movie, and then going into more conversational type of a thing for the remainder of the episode. So I'm pretty excited about that. Michaela, are you feeling ready to go to video format? Are you feeling video ready? I myself,
No,
I have a face for radio, so I'm not looking forward to it from that standpoint. But
that's not true. That's not true at all. I am terrified a little. Like I'm not. I mean, and it's funny because the world needs to know this. Brian has been percolating on this for months, and he just kind of casually asked maybe 3 months ago. He's like, "Hey, you got a second?" Like it was the end of a recording, and we had housekeeping items to go through, and he was like, "Just think about this. I think I want to do a video thing." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine. That sounds great." And then we do it, and I'm like, "Wait, like it was a video?" Like people are gonna see my expressions when I say something stupid and I'm like, what am I doing? And I need to like get out of the black hole. And Brian can't possibly like edit this correctly. He's just gonna have to like be like, never mind, we're not talking about that movie at all because
when
Michaela
Michaela
doesn't
goes
know
on a
what to say.
tangent and I just start shouting past lives to like snap her out of it.
Stop. Yeah, no. And so he's so I feel better about it if now because I've actually had 3 chances to mess this up and probably did a little bit. It's a little this can be a little tough to do live. I feel a lot better because I've seen a lot of people say the wrong thing and have it get out on the internet and like it ruins them. And I don't think I would do anything like that necessarily, but I feel like I just need to, I'm feeling good about it, but I also feel like it does bring me to think about make sure I really have my facts about who's acting in it and stuff like that ahead of time, because I will mistake actors every now and then I feel
Mhm.
terrible like they're gonna listen to this and be like, I was in that movie, that was not whoever I said it was,
That was
I'm
not
Michael
Tom Cruise.
Clarkson, that was not
That
Tom
was
Cruise, that was Brad Pitt. How could you screw that up? And I wouldn't want to hurt Tom or Brad's feelings. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm also really excited about it because I do think that there's a lot of banter that we have that is really funny and that also is probably pretty entertaining for people and is that we miss out on because we're not having kind of that general talk about, hey, let's talk about 80s movies. We're talking about one
Mhm. Right.
specific movie or we're talking about the lobby bar. And I think that that could be really fun to do. I mean, I could talk about movies with you all day, Brian. So and now we're just adding a camera. So I just need to make sure that my double chin is in check.
That's right. There will be video evidence going forward. Yeah, like I said, at least like one of those a month is kind of our target for that. We'll see how that goes, and make sure you're following us on our social medias. It's at Drink the Movies on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook.com/Drink the Movies because we'll be putting up some polls and like various like talking point kind of things. So if you want to get your movie recommendation or whatever our topic's going to be, definitely reply and let us know. We'll be doing some polls and asking people questions, their favorite movies from particular genres or whatever the case may be, kind of going forward for those months. So we'll be trying to get that information from our Patreon patrons, definitely, but then also just from those social medias. So definitely take the time to check those out. So we've got the video coming uh this coming year, coming next week. Actually, it will be will be here before you know it. um is there anything else that you're looking forward to this year, be it cocktail wise, be it movie wise, anything we haven't done movie wise in a while? We still need to get back down to Florida to go to Disney and potentially Universal Studios. I don't know if that's going to be in the cards this time, this year. I don't know. We might have to sneak in a trip here sometime. Maybe not a full week. Maybe we can get something else. But is there anything else like movie wise that you really want to do? I know one for me. There's a new theater here in Charlotte that has opened right up in the city. I definitely want to get there and check that out sometime to go see something. They do a lot of fun stuff, right? They do a lot of kind of like independent type stuff, like Oscar stuff, but they also seem like they're like really leaning into doing like old, like throwback, like 40th anniversary type stuff. Like
Hmm.
so something like that would be fun. And then you go out in the city, so you get some nice cocktails. That seems like a good night for drink the movies. But is there anything you're looking forward to movie wise or just otherwise? Are you looking to bright sunny days? What you got?
So it's always been a dream between you and I think, to go to the Oscars and actually cover the Oscars.
Mm, hmm
That's
hmm
something that I'd love to do. I don't know if it's in the cards for 2026, just because it's now like 2 months away. I feel like that's a lot of planning and a lot of stuff. A friend of the pod has asked specifically for us to do that. So, um, that's kind of cool. That's something that we've always wanted to do.
We'll set up a GoFundMe for that
Right.
particular
There
listener.
we go.
We can.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, uh, I feel like that theater, if it's the one I was there, they do live performances as well. So no,
Yep.
no Reed from Schitt's Creek came through Charlotte and was in the theater. And I didn't realize that it was a movie theater until I was leaving, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Because you're absolutely right. I mean, it looks really cool, and it's in the heart of the city. Um, anything the international anything that the Independent Picture House does is so worthy of your time here in Charlotte. If you are a member, awesome, go take advantage of all the member stuff. If you're not a member, go be a member, because it really is very cool. It's hard for us to get up into the city, and so we don't get to go to as many events as we'd like. They always do a really fun Oscar party.
Mhm.
We don't go because we like to drink a lot and we want to get home safely. So we don't do that. Me and my 7 bottles of Wycliffe. But um, I feel like, maybe doing something, in prep for the Oscars that involves the Independent Picture House or maybe the new theater would be really cool. Um, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, that would be good.
yeah,
That would be good. And make sure follow along because like every year we'll be doing our Oscar pick'em. So as soon as we get kind
yeah.
of the details on the Oscars, that'll be coming out, and we don't have too much time before that happens, right? With the Golden Globe nominations already out, so we'll be getting into award season full swing here pretty shortly. So yeah, so just looking forward to that. It seems like 2026 is going to be a pretty good year for movies, right? We're going to get a new Star Wars film back in the theaters. That's going to be fun. We'll of course be talking about that and carrying on with our Star Wars coverage that I force Michaela to do every year, so that'll be good. But yeah, I mean, there's always like stuff that's surprising that comes out of nowhere, just like Sinners. So we'll be covering that stuff, and yeah, definitely looking forward to the video versions of the podcast. So let us know out there what your movie watching, your resolutions. Let us know what your movie resolutions are for 2026. Let us know if you've had any good cocktails this year, or if there's any ingredients you'd like us to check out for the coming year, or anything like that. Drop us a line at those social medias I just mentioned. Again, they are at Drink the Movies on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. You can go to our website. It's www.drinkthemovies.com. That's where we have pictures of all the cocktails that we're making. Michaela does most of those, so if you want to give a compliment, send those her way. There we've got the episode recaps, the written recipes, links to the merchandise shop, to Patreon, to Drink the Video Games. All that stuff can be found on the website. It is drinkthemovies.com. Speaking of Patreon, we love our patrons over there so much. We do a lot of fun stuff. We do bonus episodes. We do little cocktail chats. We do hangouts once a month. We do, this is where we test drove the video version of the podcast. So that was pretty exciting. And we have a lot of fun stuff planned for our patrons over there. It is patreon.com/drink the movies. Also, there's a patrons only Discord channel. So if you want to go do that and chat with us offline, you can do that there as well. So thank you to all the patrons, and hopefully everyone out there, patrons and otherwise, had a safe and happy New Year. Michaela, we're recording this early because we can't record New Year's Day because if you think you drink a lot of Wycliffe on Oscar night, you drink a lot more on New Year's Eve, no doubt, no doubt.
Mm.
So we wanted to we wanted to beat the hangovers. So have a good drink on New Year's Eve. Toast to New Year's Eve. You're going to be traveling. Normally spend that night together, our families. So going to miss that this year, but that's okay. We will persevere. We will get back together as soon as you're back in town, and we'll start knocking out Oscar movies left, right, and center, I think. So, Michaela, people want to follow along with the podcast, including YouTube. Go to YouTube, people. Where can they pick up the pod? Make sure they're following along for this, for the lobby bars, all the stuff.
You can find us on YouTube. But you can also find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Good Pods, anywhere where Spotify podcasts are supported and distributed. We do 2 drops a week here at Drink the Movies, but that's not all. We have Drink the Video Games, which is amazing, and it is routinely getting like in the top 5 spot of video game entertainment podcasts like everywhere, which is really amazing. So go check it out because even if you're not a huge fan of video games, it's really cool to hear Brian talk about all the history behind it and all of that. I always pop in and bring a cocktail, and that's really fun as well.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that plug. I appreciate that. And I'll have a new episode of that out next week if you're listening to this the day that it drops. So I want to thank you so much to everyone who took the time to listen to the pod over the year. I've posted a couple of things from our Spotify Wrapped or whatever that thing is called up on the social medias. You can check those out. Yeah, we had a lot of new listeners this year. So welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So if you've listened to one episode, if you've listened to every episode, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. And it's kind of amazing that people listen to us talk about movies at all, but hopefully we can do that, keep growing the Drink the Movies community, and have a lot more fun just kind of talking about movies, both movies, and movies just kind of in general, what our favorite kind of things are come movie time. So stay tuned for more of that stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next year on
Drink
Drink
the
the
Movies.
Movies. We're gonna have to work on our sign off for our video. People will know if we're out of sync then.
They totally will. They totally will. Happy New Year, Brian.
Happy New Year.